In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, in Amen we trust, as the Republican Mentellect, the true 144,000 being gathered in this day and time, the Mentellians. Benzeka Aminun to all of my Mentellian brothers and sisters out there, registered members of the Republican Mentellect, and to all future Mentellians who have yet to find their way home to the covenant of Amen, which is the Republican Mentellect. I send greetings out to you, and I send peace to you in our Mentellian language by saying to you, Benzeka Aminun. Good evening. I am your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkare. In today's Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing why the black race, the so-called black race, will not be around in the future. It's very simple. See, when you talk about the future, and I think everybody's going to be on board with me when I say this, when you speak about the future, right, the future is supposed to denote growth and change, either for the better or for the worse. It's either going to promote growth and change for the future, for the better or for the worse. In other words, things will not stay the same. Nothing ever stays the same in any period of time. Things always change, grow, or they die. So-called black people started off in the beginning of this thing, in the beginning of the world, as the leaders of this planet, the rulers of all ancient governments, right? In that era back then, black people were ruling all over the planet, not just in Egypt, not just in Africa, but in Europe, what you call in Europe today, Asia, America. Our people were the first, so-called black people were the first people on the planet setting up the first governments, the first societies, and everything, right? After us had their chance, had their shot at it, from the Asians to the East Indians, the Arabs, now to the Caucasians, and now they on their last leg of rulership. They coming to the end because all societies over time change. They either rise higher or they fall. They either rise higher or they fall. That goes for people too. They're either going to evolve and change and grow, or they're going to die out. You've seen many civilizations come, many people, races of people have come, many species of animal have come onto this planet, and they have died out over time because they were not fit to continue. They were not fit mentally to continue. They were not able to adapt to the changes that were taking place around them. Thus, they died out. This is the situation for black people today. It can't get no worse than this. It cannot get any worse than this. It cannot get any worse than this when you have so-called black men who do not care or have no problem with the so-called black woman. They are a natural woman that the Most High, the Creator, projected her here to be with him, right? And confederate, meaning together, as her one and only mate. To now go out here and take men of other races, right? To be with women, to do all kinds of things that are dysfunctional in the extension of life. To do all things that work against the natural extension of life. This is what you have on the table in front of you now. And now this is becoming an alternative lifestyle. This dysfunction, this unnatural, abnormal way of thinking and living and belief and concept is now becoming a way of life over the natural way. It is gaining fast momentum, and nobody is standing up to say anything about it. Everybody just taking it on the chin and just going on ahead. Nowhere do you see in any other race the so-called woman of that race being confederate with other races of people, meaning being in alignment with other races of people to destroy her bloodline and her seed. When you so-called black women go out here and get with the white man, the Asian man, the other races outside race, your so-called race, then you are acting to destroy the black race, because the child or offspring that you're going to have from that union is not going to be black. I don't care what you call him or call her or him. That child is not black any longer, so-called black, bronze, whatever you want to refer. It is not the same anymore. Once that different genetic is added, it is something totally different. It is not what you started out to be. It is something totally different. And a lot of you are on board with that. You so-called black males and black females are all on board with erasing the so-called black race. You are on board with it. A lot of you are on board with it. A lot of you, even though you might say, well, I'm not for that, I think we should be with our own kind, a lot of you are liberal, or you are okay with that. Even if you are not taking part in this, a lot of you are okay with this. You find no problem with it. Why? Because you don't speak out against it. You don't say anything about it. You allow this in your family. A lot of you so-called black women who say, well, I wouldn't choose a white man to be with, but you okay with your daughter bringing home a white man to be with, and them breeding a bunch of mulattoes who are no longer black. If you okay with this, then you are part of the erasing of the so-called black race. If you okay with your son bringing home a white girl, somebody else from another race, and that child they're going to produce is no longer black, you're okay with the erasing of your bloodline and genetic. You are basically, through your love for your son and your emotional attachment to those grandchildren that come out, you are confederate. You are with the erasing of your bloodline. There's no two ways to put that. You can try to sugarcoat that we're all human and we all the same. No, we're not all the same. The minute you said that, the minute that you bought into that lie that we all the same, you also bought into the erasing of your race, the erasing of your bloodline. You've also bought into that. You bought into that. The minute your daughter brings home another woman, or your son brings home a man, or whatever the case may be, something that is not going to continue your bloodline, and you okay with that, then you are okay with the erasing of your bloodline. You are okay with the ferreting out or the destruction of the black race, because if you can have children, be you man, woman, if you are able to have children, Alman gave you the ability to produce children, then it is your duty to produce children. It is your duty to bring forth life. That's what you have your internal organs, your reproductive system for. If you can produce children, it is for you to produce children. That's what you're here to do. That's one of your jobs. You're not here to come and work for the damn white man or chase down a career or go and make money or go and do all this nonsense that you go and do. And the white man tries to convince you that you're here for more than just procreating or projecting life here. You're here as part of that evolution of projection of life. If you can project life, it is your duty to project life, to bring forth life here. That is your main reason for being here. That is your main reason. And if you cannot project life here, if you cannot produce life here, then it's up to you to foster those nieces, nephews, whatever extended family you got. It's up to you to nurture them or foster them to be a part of something that helps in the raising of children. It is up to you to be a part of that evolution, to continue the race, to continue the bloodline. But so-called black people don't think this way. They do not think this way. They think they don't. I was going to say they think they're here. They don't even know why they're here. That's another sign that they're on their way out. Because anytime you don't even really know what your true purpose is for being on the earth, other than to eat, sleep, shit, and die, you on your way out of here. Just like the animals that thought the same way. That means you're a small part of a bigger plan. You become the small part of a bigger plan. But see, the problem is when you become a small part of the bigger plan, and not the actual plan or part of the actual extended plan, the plan always gets bigger, and your part in the plan becomes smaller. And it becomes small to the point whereas you become useless and you become replaceable, and you are ferreted out. Your bloodline is wiped away. It is wiped away. You understand that? Right? Your bloodline is wiped away because you don't have a bigger plan for your seed, for your bloodline. And of course you can't have it as black people because there's no such thing as black people. You have no true identity. You have no name. You have no nothing. Everything you follow is from the white man. And that's another sign that you're on your way out. Because really what that's saying is by you being all of these things that the white man conjured up in his mind that you are, African, African-American, Negro, nigger, all these things they conjured up about you, your images out here in society, just the same way they came up with it from their limited mindset, from their limited imagination of who they think you are and how they think the extended world works. Just by them coming up with that, the same way they can come up with it, the same way they can think you out of existence. I said this before. The very people that give you your identity in the society can also think you out of existence. Let me prove that to you. Like right now, the only reason why at this point you see a lot of black images in movies, major movies and things. I'm not talking about the independent people that made movies, but let's just say, yeah, big motion pictures. Wherever, if you look 100 years ahead, right, and you look back and see, the type of people that was here, and see how they were doing, you have to look on film at black people, and you would see their narrative, their stories being told by Caucasians, right? And these Caucasians can just simply stop making movies. They can simply stop making television shows with black people in them. Because the minute they stop making television shows, movies, and whatnot with so-called black people in them, then your image stops. Your image stops around the world. Your image stops on screen. Your image stops on television, everything. And y'all not going to do a damn thing about it. You'll let these people stop your images. You'll let these people control your images, control your narrative, your story. Why? Because you have no direction. You have no real point, nor are you looking for the real point of you being here, living. You have nothing to live for. You have nothing to live for but your jobs, your little bit of money you're getting, your so-called careers, right, and your useless existence. You have nothing. So it's easy. It is very easy to erase people like that. It's easy to erase a race of people like that. That's the mass majority of you so-called black people. You have nothing to live for. I don't care how much money you got, in the bank, what kind of car you drive. If that's how you define your existence, I don't say life, your existence. If your existence is defined by your family, your money, your career, what kind of car you drive, what kind of house you got, how much money you believe you got in the bank, how much real estate you believe you own. If your existence here as a people is predicated on people, place, and possession, then you're on your way out. Because all the things that I mentioned, people, places, and possessions, they're all fleeting. They're all temporary. So if these things that you put your energy into are temporary, then that means you're going to be temporary. That means you're going to be temporary. I say all the time that places are destroyed every day. Places are taken over every day, renamed in honor of the next people coming up every day. New societies come up. Old societies come down. Right? So putting energy into people, places, and possessions, possessions are destroyed all the time, burned, wiped out of existence, stolen. People die every day. People are born every day. So the point of that is, if you don't have some inkling of who you are beyond people, place, and possession, beyond this nonsense that you black people or that you so-called human or all these things that white people told you, if you don't have a sense of who you are as a person, as a personified race of beings, if you don't have any clue of who you are before the white man tells you who you are, because right now everything that you think you know about who you are, that you're human, that you're black, that you're a Negro, that you're an American, that you're African, all that comes from the white man. All of it. Every last single thing about it. All your so-called African tribal stuff, some from you Negroes are talking about your tribal thing, come from some so-called African people, black African people. You can trace the start and the beginning and the end. If you can trace the start of all that, then that means it has an ending. Even your so-called cultural things that you got from so-called quote-unquote Africa and your African diaspora and all this other nonsense, this tribal nonsense, which is nothing but a bunch of made-up rituals and customs that mean nothing because your ancestors ain't here no more. You're here, and you in America. Or you someplace else in the world and you wish you was American and you follow an American diatribe, you're following an American narrative that is very heavy on this society. So just by the mere fact of that, you don't have your own narrative. You have not come up with your own reasons for being here that's independent of other people's thoughts, that's independent of the white man and other races of people. If you haven't come up with this idea that I'm just in the world, I'm human, and I'm just trying to live, no. That's not strong enough reason for you to exist in the future. Just you here to eat, sleep, have sex, and do whatever you do, go to work, have a so-called career, and that's it. That's not a strong enough narrative. That's not a strong enough reason or purpose for you to live into the future. It's not. It's not. Because the very same people that give your life meaning, your existence meaning, the white men that give you a job, right? The white man who create gyms for you to go out and work out in, give you clothes to put on your back, food to put in your stomach, the very people that give you a reason for living, to have some kind of active lifestyle, if they're going down, if they disappear tomorrow, then that means that's the end of your world. That's the end of your world. You have no life without these people who are controlling your narrative, and that's the truth. You tell me what black people are doing past white people. You tell me what they're doing. You tell me what they're doing past white people. What are they thinking about in the future? Absolutely nothing. So that's a sign that there will be no black race in the future, because the minute the so-called white man decides, oh, I'm not thinking about black people anymore, going back and forth, the minute he pulls out and decides to do something else, and that's the end of your people. That's the end. The minute he stops educating your children on how to read and write and do math and whatever the case else, he pulls out, that's the end. See, because y'all don't have a real direction. You don't have a future mindset. Your minds don't work futuristically. You don't think as a people. You don't even raise your children futuristically. You raise your children in a timely fashion. You raise your children in a timely fashion, meaning of this time, or a temporary fashion, meaning in the now. You don't raise your children futuristically because you don't think futuristically. I said this before. You don't think about the people you're linking up with, the people you're going to have sex with, the people you're going to have produce life with. You don't think about none of that. Everything is based on who you like at the moment. You understand? That's all it's based on. People who think like that are people who will not go on in the future. When you see all of these so-called families like your Rothschilds and all these people in the Illuminati and things like that, you notice that these people have been around controlling the banking system and all these things for hundreds and hundreds of years. These people go back to the 16th century, 17th century. The Rothschilds, these people have been around 500-600 years. These people are trillionaires, and their bloodline is still around. Their seed is still around controlling the banking system, right? Why? Because these people were always thinking futuristically. They were always thinking futuristically. They were always thinking about who they were going to marry, what their children were going to do, what their grandchildren are going to do, who's going to be in charge of what their race was, what their culture was, what they were not going to allow into their race, what they were not going to allow into their culture. They were always thinking that way. That's why they exist. That's why they are trillionaires. That's why they run the banking system and everything on the planet, because they're always thinking futuristically. That's why they are still here. Because in order for you to live on, to continue on, you have to think futuristically, and that's something black people do not do. So when you do not think that way, when everything is just wherever the day take you, I'm living my life day to day and all that BS, you understand? That's a sign that you're on your way out. And I say be mindful of procreating or pro-projecting with people who are like this. Be mindful. Be mindful of procreating with people who are like this. People who are in that third dimensional mindset of people, place, and possession, and got this mind, this whimsical mindset of whoever I like at the time, wherever the day takes me, I'm going to live my life one day at a time. No. 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 All right. They're not talking about the future. Because that, and some brother said to me, Andrew said to me, I don't hear black people talking about the future. You don't hear them talking about the future because they're not going to be in the future. That's why. Richard Pryor said something funny one time. He goes, you ever notice in the future? He said, I was watching, he said, Richard Pryor, when he was alive, he said, I watched some movie called 2000 Space Odyssey, something like that. He said, I know, or Logan's Run or something like that. I forget what he said. He said, it was a whole bunch of white people there. I ain't seen no niggas there. That means they don't plan on us being here. They don't. They don't. Because they already got your so-called black woman to sign off on this, on you not being here. And your black woman is the one who carried the seed, the bloodline. She carries the seed in the bloodline. You understand? Her eggs, her ovaries, she carries the bloodline. The mass majority of so-called black women done turned on the black race. They already down with the white man. They already done signed on to carry his seed. And like I said before, those mulattoes are not black. They already signed on. They already signed on to be with the white man and carry his mulatto seed, which, again, they're not going to raise as a black child. That white man not going to raise his child as a black child. He's going to raise him as a white child with a tan, a dark-skinned white person. That's what they're going to raise. And you know what? Your so-called black woman, your black female, I should say, who's woke, who thinks she's all natural, she's going to be all on board with it. She's going to be on board with the destruction of her own kind. Now, when you got those odds working against you, how can you continue as a race of people? How can you really continue? She done stacked all her odds with the white man. You see all these so-called liberal black females today, they on board with that. And the mass majority of your so-called black males and black females are liberal, meaning they open to all of the things that the white man puts across, all of his social engineering programs, the pushing of homosexuality and lesbianism, right, race mixing. They on board with it. They good with it. All of the things that are meant to destroy the so-called black race, so-called black people are on board with. They on board with it. So what does that tell you? How the hell you going to survive as a race of people when you basically on board with everything is about destroying your people? You understand that? How you going to survive that? The only way to survive is only going to be a remnant. Only a remnant. The mass majority of so-called black people were here. They here to serve the beast. And part of the requirement as a black person today who serves the beast is you have to destroy your own people. You have to destroy yourself in time, because that's what they require. They require that you work against your own people. You so-called black people who have no true knowledge of who you are, who are still within the so-called black race, who believe in this so-called thing called the black community, which never existed. Y'all still with this black community nonsense. You still believe that there's a such thing as a so-called black community. You still under that illusion. So just by that alone, that's a sign of the end. Because, see, you can't be a people of the future when you are under the illusion of today. A people of the future are not under the illusions of today. See, that was the mindset of so-called black people who were in rulership back in the ancient world. When the white man came into their cities and things like that, when they come out of the caves and stuff like that, they didn't believe that, you know what, these people are going to eventually overtake us and whatnot, because they're learning how we do things, our warring tactics, and how we rule and govern. They didn't think that, these people are going to someday overtake us and overtake our lands and put us in slavery. You didn't think like that, because your mindset, you looked at what it was in that day and time that y'all was in rulership. You didn't think that it could flip on you tomorrow, and that's what happened to so-called black people. That's how you got into bondage. And of course, you stopped doing the will of Amen, and you started worshiping these false gods of the beast. You understand that? You stopped doing the will of Amen. You stopped looking to the Most High, and thus made yourself a part of the Most Low, and you become the lowest on the totem pole. And you still can't get these so-called black people to see this. I don't care how much black power talk you do, black revolution talk you do, red, black, and green talk you do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all about to come to an end, because I told you before, y'all have no plan for the future. All that black talk, black power, RBG, red, black, and green, black natural sister goddess is a load of BS, all of it, because it all can come tumbling down with the directive of the white man. These so-called black liberal females, all you got to do is tell them that they can be with a white man, and a lot of these natural cis stars who are so liberal and whatnot, they're going to be right with a white man. They'll go be right with him. They'll go and have his child and talk about they still black and they down for the cause. Are you serious? This is what you got. Or you so-called lesbians who don't even want to push out black children. They want to be with another female, looking on another female. They'd rather do that than be with a man of their own kind pushing out children as they supposed to. extending the bloodline, extending the seed, or you so-called black females out here who rather be alone because you can't get your goddamn way. They rather do that than extend the bloodline. Because by you extending the bloodline, that is hope, that is the future. And you cannot extend it as black people because, again, as we are coming into this stage of an awakening from sleep, from death, we have to wake up as a new people, a new race, with a new direction, with a new focus. And if that's not going to happen, then there's no continuation as so-called black people. The black part of our existence represented a state of blackness, darkness, the dark age. Us being so-called black people represented a dark age. That is not an age of enlightenment for us. It was an age of darkness, an age of ignorance. This right now is the age of ignorance we in, and it's heavy. Just by us believing we black people, we Negroes, and all this other foolishness and following the narrative of the white man, that's what you call the age of ignorance, the age of darkness. And it can't get no darker than this. It can't get no darker than this. For some of our people, they're just going to fade to death. They're already in a state of walking around as zombies. For some of them, they're just going to fade into darkness all the way into death. And that's it. A lot of them think, like I said, they're still under this illusion. Yeah, that sounds good and all that. All I'm going to do is just go to work, make my money, do what I do, and teach my children, a better way for black people and whatnot. And, and they still with that old Negro narrative. We're going to teach our children about being proud of their race, and I'm going to just do my best to raise my children, teach my children to be proud of their race. Y'all finished, man. There's nothing you can do. For all that black, keep hope alive, and we're just going to keep on with the struggle, and we're going to keep on being black, and we're going to keep on teaching our children about blackness and this, that, and the third. Look, man, there's nothing you can do. All you positive black people, you so-called, quote-unquote, positive black people, your positivity is not going to get you anywhere because you're working against the true purpose of being here, which is the evolution of mind, body, and self, the evolution of mind, body, and soul, the evolution of self and time. And you really don't want the evolution because part of the evolution is sacrifice. Part of the evolution is sacrifice, and a lot of you don't want it. Or you so-called black positive niggas out here talking all this, I'm going to teach my children to be positive, brother. I hear you, brother. I'm going to teach my babies. I'm going to teach them about their blackness. I'm going to teach my daughter that she's a goddess and that she has to be with a black man and whatnot. It don't matter what you tell them. It don't matter how much tinted cloth you dress your children in, how natural they wear their hair, how many onks you put on them. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. There is nothing you can do to stop this destruction. There is nothing you can do. There's no hotepping you can do in the world. There's no trying to get with. That's over with. Why? Because, again, we need identity. We need purpose. We need direction. We need Amen. We need the Most High. And like I said, a lot of y'all ain't even on that level to think about the Most High because you got that mindset. There is no creator. You got the mindset of the white man. A lot of you are indoctrinated in some way, shape, or form with the mind of the white man. Either you don't acknowledge that there is a creator or that you just think, I'm just going to, just do, follow the way of the society and I'm going to be in this world and I'm going to just teach my children. You're trying to do it without the creator. And that's the mass majority of you so-called black people. You're trying to do it without the Most High, without the creator. Amen. I'm not talking about your God. I'm not talking about your Jesus, your Jehovah, your Yahweh. I'm talking about the true Lord. Amen. Y'all not even trying to connect to that. Your mind don't go that far. So if your mind don't go that far with the creator, then all that Ashen and Hotepping and calling on the ancestors and being black and calling on Jesus is not going to help you. It has not helped you in the last 400 years. What makes you think it's going to start now? Things have gotten worse. The only thing that has changed is that your progression has gotten worse. You understand? Thing has gotten worse. There has been no progression with you. Anytime, like I said, y'all don't even stand up against the obvious things. Your women being with other races of men. You ain't up here saying nothing about these black females with other races of men or these black males with other races of women. They taken away from the bloodline. They taken away from the seed. You understand? Yet these people still want to talk about, oh, I'm still black, but I just want to be with another race of people. No, they're not supposed to say that. If they think that they can do that, then that's a weakness on your part as a people to not say anything about it, to look at these people as outcasts, because that's how you should see them. Let them, if they love the white man so much and all these other races, let them go and embrace them and leave you alone. Don't support their movies. Don't support what they TV show. Don't support nothing they do. Nothing. Because they are traitors. They are traitors. Everybody expects you not to have pride and whatnot, and you know what? You acquiesce and you have no pride. The white race and all these other so-called white race, they still even have pride, even though they're on their way out. They have pride. You don't have any pride, so-called black man, black woman. You go on your knees to everybody, and it is a sign of your destruction and downfall. That is a sign of your destruction and downfall. Nobody's standing up for you in this day and time. Nobody. Because you can't stand up for something called the black race because it never existed. All you can do is stand up for a remnant of those who are waking up out of darkness. That's all you can do, and that's what I'm here for. In these last days and times, I'm standing up for those who are waking up out of that state of darkness. I'm standing up for them who are coming into the light, coming to the state of brightness. That's what I'm standing up for as a new mind, new body, and new soul of people who are standing in the image of Amen. That's what I'm standing up for. That's all you can save. That's all you can resurrect. That's all the people that are going to exist, the persons who are going to exist in the future. All the rest of this black nonsense, well, I told you what you're going to see in 40 to 50 years, which ain't a long time from now, is a bunch of mulattoes. You're going to see a bunch of mulattoes. And whatever blacks that's left, they're going to be in the prison system, or they're going to be homosexuals and lesbians. That's what's going to be left. All that black family stuff, that's finished. You see what they did to Bill Cosby, and I keep telling you all, the reason why they're doing what they did to Bill Cosby is because they wanted to erase his legacy, which was pushing black family. That's why they had to get rid of Bill Cosby. They didn't care about no drugs and no sex scandal and no women. They cared about the legacy of the Cosby Show and what it pushed in the minds of black people. They want to erase that narrative of the black family here in America, the so-called black family. They want that going. And Bill Cosby variegated that image. He pushed that image. That's what made Bill Cosby a target. That's what made him a target. He represented that image hard. And they want that image erased. They want the image of the white man and the black woman together to produce mulatto children. And a lot of you so-called black females are on board with it. You on board with it. You natural cis stars are on board with it. You bugged out black females, you on board with it. You black males, you on board with handing over your woman to the white man. They making movies like Something New and whatnot with a black man who's supposed to be the father, so now later than he handing his daughter over to a white man. He ain't got no problem with it. That's the type of narrative they want to push. They basically programming you to erase your own bloodline. Like I said, the offsprings of that union are no longer you. They are a percentage of you. They are no longer you. They are something totally different. And you already know out of that union, they're going to get another white person to get with because they're going to be pushed to do that. You know the mother's going to push them to get with a white person because she didn't even herself. Why would she want her daughter or son that she had from a interracial relationship to be with a so-called a black person and whatnot if she herself didn't want to be with a so-called black person? Why would she want to push that? Why would she want to push that? She ain't going to push that. Her son, her mulatto daughter bring home a white boy and whatnot. She going to push her daughter to bring home a white boy. You understand? She going to push her daughter to do that. You seen in that movie Spider-Man, right? The last Spider-Man, here it is. They showed you Garcelle Bouvier with with Michael Keaton, right? In the last Spider-Man movie, they had a little mulatto daughter. They had to put that in there, the black one with the white man, right? And then she's trying to see the Spider-Man character, the white boy. And they was cool with that. She didn't say, I want my daughter with a black boy, because she didn't want to be with a black man. They get together, they have offspring. Ain't going to be no black children coming out of that. That's the end of the bloodline right there, right in your goddamn face. They're getting you to erase your bloodline. They're getting you to erase it right in your face. It ain't nothing I'm saying like, oh, yeah, everybody ain't going to do that. It don't matter if everybody do that. You could say that how you feel about that now, but what about your children? Your children, they being raised up in a society where that's okay. And then you got, and I said you add on to the fact that your children don't have no clue about who they are, what their reason is for being here. They don't have a clue. So, of course, right? So, of course, what are they going to do? What are they going to teach children? What are they going to teach? They're going to teach another generation, yeah, y'all black, y'all African-American, y'all Negroes. That's what they're going to teach your children? That's what they're going to teach the children that come out? They're going to be lost as ever. Especially since the white man is doing the social engineering on the society where he ain't trying to push the black man and black woman together. Your children are going to come up thinking, oh, why are we pushing that black stuff? We all human. We need to get beyond that. You know what I'm saying? That's what your children are learning in school. Your children are learning to be race mixers. To mix themselves out of society, but you don't hear white children being taught that. You don't hear them being taught that. Your children are being taught that. Your children are being taught that. They're being taught to really erase their own race, to destroy their own race. That's what they're being taught. This not even a conspiracy. I ain't even got to promote this as a conspiracy. You seeing it right in your damn face, in your lifetime. You seeing it. Everything I'm saying. These young girls don't stand up for black people no more. You ask the average so-called young black girl, black female, or the average black male, about race and race pride and being proud of it. They're looking at you like you crazy. Yeah, right. They're making a joke out of it. Yeah, black power. They putting up their fists. They're making a goddamn joke out of it. When those same ones are like, yeah, black power, they go be right with a white man with no problem. No issue whatsoever. And when I'm taking a stand about this, they'll be, oh, you racist. Why he racist? He racist against people. This is the same. They walking around the country that is has been based on nothing but racism towards so-called black people from the white man. But then they'll turn around and get with them white people. They'll turn right around and get with them white people and call me racist. So you already know the black female of the day is programmed, that she's bugged out of her mind. She's programmed to work against herself and anything that's about the evolution of self and kind. They bugged out of their minds, man. You can't do nothing with that. They under the impression that, oh, if I mix my seed with a white person, my baby going to come out pretty. That's the minds of the so-called black female. They more interested in pretty children or so-called pretty children. My children going to come out with dog stringy hair and lighter skin because they ain't got to look like my black ugly self. That I'm going to have pretty babies. They're going to be mulatto with dog hair and whatnot and pale skin or lighter skin. Straight wavy hair, which is really animal hair. Fur. Because they bugged out of their mind. And it's the mindset of a lot of these black females. It's the mindset of a lot of these black females. You understand that? They're already pre-programmed to erase the race. And this is who you hooking up with. Because you might be so-called pro-black, and you hook up with one of these Negroes who pro-everybody. Because them pro-everybody people, those are the ones who designed the race, to erase the race. Those pro-everybody. The average so-called black person, they pro-everybody. They ain't no pro-black. They pro-everybody. So they ain't got no problem mixing their seeds. You might hook up one of these pro-everybody. Next thing you know, you be like, yeah, I'm a pro-black, but I'm about to continue on my bloodline. Then you get this pro-everybody so-called black female. And then when your child brings home, you don't know what she's teaching your child. Oh, yeah, I know that stuff your father said about staying with your own kind, but hey, forget that. We all human. You don't have to think like that. That's just his thoughts. This is what she's programming her daughter or son behind the scenes to think. Then when he bring home a white girl, right, or she bring home a white boy or somebody of another race, Asian, whatever, then next thing you know, they looking at you. They looking at like, what the hell did I raise? What did I raise? I'm a strong, so-called strong black man, and I've been in the life of my daughter, the life of my, I've been in for my children. So why would they want to bring home somebody that don't look like me? That's not in our image. Why would they want to do something like that? That makes you think that they've been hating your image all along. They hated your image. They hated their own image. Because when you bring home people that don't look like you understand? Don't have your physical features, don't have your physical your phenotype, your genotypes and things like that, your type of hair, skin, complexion, nothing. That's a sign that you hate yourself. You don't like that in yourself, so you chose somebody else that has something totally different. that's what that is. You can try to make it something else, but that's really what it is. You don't like yourself. How are you going to continue a race of people when you got the mass majority that don't like themselves? How are you going to continue with people like that? This is serious. Some of them might not come right out and say it, but that's what they mean. They ain't going to come right out and say it, but they show it in their actions. Because the very things you should want to continue your bloodline on is the fact that I want children who look like me, look like my bloodline, look like my seed. I want them to be better than me. I want them to be greater than me. And that don't just mean just going and getting any so-called black person. Because you can go ahead and get with a so-called black person who's not right mentally, who's three-dimensional, who care about nonsense and foolishness. It's not about the continuation of the bloodline. They about foolishness, about what they want. You understand? About their own trivial wants and desires. They're not about the continuation of the bloodline. And you hook up with people like that, next thing you know, your bloodline is thrown off. Your bloodline is thrown off. You raising children who don't have a clue. You might have a sister who might be pro-black, so-called black, pro-bronze and whatnot, but she get with some Negro who got this, oh, I love everybody, or I'm for everybody. Teaching your son or daughter to be like that. Next thing you know, when your son bring home a white girl or somebody else, you're like, where did I go wrong? I did want my son to be with a black girl. I don't want no mixed race babies. I don't want no mulatto children. They want to push mulatto children on you like it's okay. But what if you don't want mulatto children? You don't want mulatto grandchildren. You don't want that. Why? And it's only natural that you not want that because you want the continuation of your bloodline. There's nothing wrong with that. You want your bloodline, your grandchildren to look like you. You want them to look like you and genotype and phenotype, type of hair and whatnot. You have these grandchildren don't look like you. They strangers. You can say, oh, you know, they got my blood, they my grandchildren. You can play the emotional card, but let's be for real. You look at them, you know they not. I mean, come on. That's the same way the white man feels. He's not wrong in feeling that way. The so-called, they call him the racist white man. When they daughter bring home a so-called black man, or son bring home a black girl, and they having children, they be like, I don't want that in my family. And they're not wrong to feel that way. They're not. They're not wrong to feel that way. They want their bloodline to look like how they look. They're not wrong to feel that way. You understand? You want to say that they're wrong and stuff, they're not. Because that represents the end of a bloodline when you start doing stuff like that. That represents the end of a bloodline. The discontinuation. Because you're adding in something that was not meant to be added in there. Because if we were meant to be together or all be the same, then we would have been made the same. We're not. When the white man is trying to force all of this together, it's fine that he forces it with the so-called Asians, with the Caucasians, with the East Indian, because they're all the same. Those are all the same people. But notice, like I said, they only refer to it as interracial when we get involved, so-called black, because they know that we're not what they are. We're a whole other species of being. I told you before, we are Amen. We are the first beings to walk the planet. They are human. They are the second. We are Amen. We are the race of supreme beings. We are the extension of the creators of this planet, that supreme race of Amen. They are the humans. They were created in our image and after our likeness, but artificial version. Not to look totally like us. They are the artificial versions of us, and we were not supposed to mate or mix with the artificials. We were not. I don't care who don't like it, who got a problem with it, and they are not our brothers and sisters. Simple as that. I'm going to take a call. 612.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it. How you doing tonight?
All right.
Yeah, I just want to ask briefly. I just came across your show recently off of Blog Talk, and I'm just trying to get an understanding of, the whole show and what you represent. Are you saying that that Amen, the Egyptian god, that's the god you believe in?
Amen is not an Egyptian god, sir. Amen is an extraterrestrial Lord and creator of all people on earth. Amen is the Lord of the whole planet, not an Egyptian god. Amen, when they're talking about Amen in Egypt, it was just them discovering that race of gods who were known as Amen. That was not a creation of the Egyptians.
And how did you
Amen
come
is
to
the
that
true.
conclusion?
Amen. Let me just finish. Let me finish my point. Amen is the creator of all mankind and the projectors of the race that you now know as so-called black people. Amen begat humans. Okay, that's why everybody in religion seals their prayer off with the name Amen, because the leaders in religion know that the true name of God or the Lord or the Most High, the Creator, is Amen, and that was a race, not just one thing.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
I came to that conclusion by way of transmission, receiving that, and also by seeing logically what is presented here. Why everybody is sealing their name off of the name Amen, why Amen is mentioned throughout your so-called Bible that people put on as the so-called holy book of God or the Creator, that name is constantly mentioned as in connection with the Lord or the Creator or God, because God is not even really, it's not really a name, it's more of a title. Amen is more of a name.
So you said transmissions. Are you talking about like a spiritual thing, or transmissions like a broadcast?
Communication, connection, because what you're calling spiritual is more of a form of submission. Transmission is dealing with a communication or connection to something. It's a future transmission or a future connection. It's a communication.
So is this communication, is this with Amen, or how, like, who are you communicating with?
That race of Amen.
Also, they contacted you.
Yes, they did.
And
because
so
I am
was
a
it
part
just like
of them. And let me finish. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Because I am a part of them, and I have always been a part of them. And every, mostly so-called black people are really a part of the Amen race. And at this point in time, most of your so-called black people who are, there's no such thing as black people, are going to start to wake up to the fact that they really are the Amen race, and they're going to hear this call too, sir.
And so was this like a telepathic thing, like in your mind, or was it like in a dream, or like how did they contact you?
Telepathically.
Also, like so you were hearing like an audible voice in your head?
No, the same way that you receive thoughts and ideas, you do know that your thoughts and ideas are telepathically transmitted, right? They're not yours, right?
Okay, so how were you able to distinguish between your thoughts and them projecting a thought to you?
I don't have any thoughts. My thoughts are their thoughts. I know that there's two types of thoughts here. There's those that are transmitted on the submental level by those who are in control of the society via communication, as in your television, radio, and things like that. They transmit thoughts to the general public every day to basically control how you think, how far you think, what you do, and things like that. They program you through your education system, and that's basically your first transmission. And then you have a higher transmission that is above those transmissions that puts you on a level of a special communication that's outside the box of this one.
So were you aware of the Amens before you had these transmissions, or did you become aware of it after you? Like, was it before that you knew about them, or was it after the fact?
I knew about the name Amen, but I never paid any attention to it until the transmission started coming in, and I was made aware that this is the Amen race.
So do you think that there's any chance at all that maybe this was sort of like a conscious sort of projection, like almost like an imaginary type thing?
Well, any imaginary image would have to start off first with an image, and who projects images? Where do images come from? Images have to come from someplace, right? It didn't come from me. Any image that you get in your head, let me finish. Any image that you get in your head, right, has to come from someplace. Nothing comes from no place. Everything comes from somewhere. So even if you imagine something, it's still an image you're picking up from someplace. Now, all these images that are going through my head don't come from here. They're not a part of this, which you're calling this society, or the things that are going on in society. None of the things I've transmitted or shared from our time of teaching about the Amen race and MENTELLECT is from here. So, and it's not coming from me.
Okay, so then how were you able to determine that it wasn't coming from you? Like, how could you say for sure this isn't from me, this is from some group of people outside of me.
Because again, sir, because again, I don't, like I said, every image comes from someplace else. It doesn't come from inside of you. Everything that you think is not from you. You are aware of that. Nothing is from you.
Well, I don't agree with that, but if you think that, that's your opinion.
Okay, when you were born, were you already born with images in your mind? Did somebody have to put those images there? Did you have to learn stuff over time and receive things? Whether it was from your parents, your teachers and things like that, certain images were put to you?
Absolutely, but also certain ideas also are a byproduct of when you observe things and go through trial and error, different situations, and your mind naturally has to concoct solutions or ideas on how to deal with circumstances. That's the part of the human mind, the independent mind, that has the ability to create or come up with ideas or innovations that otherwise didn't exist. That's how we've had technological inventions as an example. When you have a problem, you need a solution or a way to fix it, the mind is able to create something that otherwise...
Sir, your mind doesn't create anything. All your mind does is receive.
Every thought that you have is a receive.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. So you by saying that you don't actually...
Let me hold on.
You're connected to like a hive mind type thing.
Let me show you what I mean by that. Like you said, you brought up a good example of technology, right? Before the 20th century, there were no cars, there were no computers, there were no radios, right? Correct?
Exactly. Correct.
Okay. Do you believe in that thing that's saying when they say there's nothing new under the sun?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then where did those come from if there's nothing new under the sun?
Well, that's just a saying. That doesn't mean that all technology existed in some ancient past, ancient civilization we're not aware of. Just simply rehashing it.
But you just said that you believe in the adage that there's nothing new under the sun. So just by the fact
that's in the terms of like...
I'm just walking you through this. Just bear with me. Just by you saying that cars, radios, televisions would be considered something new, yes?
Absolutely.
Then that would be against what you just said. There would be something considered new. That would be something new under the sun if it didn't exist before.
Yeah, but that's not how I interpret the saying there's something new under the sun. That's referencing things like life events that you deal with, the way people act, things like that. That statement isn't a definitive statement saying that everything that's ever been made or designed or in every technological advancement is just a rehashing of something that existed in the ancient past. That's not what I mean by that statement.
I didn't say.
If you think that, that's fine. If that's just how you feel, that's not how I feel.
That's not.
So that doesn't mean. So making that point doesn't mean anything to me, at all.
Okay, but you're not paying attention to what you're saying. We're dealing with logic and rationale here. I'm not dealing with beliefs, sir.
Yeah, but it's how you interpret the statement. That's my point.
It's no interpretation of it. You want to make it an interpretation because you got caught in the word.
I don't use it in that form. If that's what you want me to do, if you want to get all technical, like we're in a courtroom, I don't use it like that.
Technical about it because you're talking about technology. You have to be technical.
Yeah, so.
Sir.
So let's be technical then. I do not believe that cars or computers existed in the ancient past. Do you believe they existed in the ancient past?
I don't neither.
Then what's the problem?
That they exist. Let me finish. You talking over me, not listening. I said they existed in the future, or we're coming into, and we're being pulled into the future by those thoughts in the future. In other words, there's future life already ahead of us, and we're walking into this, and we're being pulled in by those thoughts. And we are receiving their future thoughts to pull us in. So those thoughts were future thoughts that came to those people that received them to pull us into the future. That's what I'm saying. And these thoughts that I'm receiving, known as MENTELLECT, let me finish, sir. These thoughts that I'm receiving from an Armin race are future thoughts of a future race of beings who have always existed as a future race that are pulling us into the future. That's what I am saying. That is prophecy, sir.
Okay, so is there any actual conclusive or empirical way you can prove that? Because otherwise, basically what you're saying to me is it's just a matter of faith, like people who believe in religion or God or whatever.
Stop it.
It's the same thing.
Stop, sir. What you want to hear is you want me to point to a white man saying that what he's saying is right. I can't do that because
no, I'm not
sorry,
asking you to point to a white man. What I'm saying, I'm basing off what you told me.
Empirical data, sir. When you ask for empirical data, who keeps the data?
You don't.
Exactly.
It's not about who keeps the data.
Exactly.
You have to present the information that you have.
Sir.
And anytime you present an idea.
Sir. Go back. Here's what you do. Go back and listen to all my radio shows. I got over 1,000 radio broadcasts where I talk about nothing but future knowledge. Everything I've been presenting, people will tell you, everything I've said is not of this time. It's futuristic, but I'm being shown over time that things I've been saying have been coming true. So I present future intelligence to my people to pull them into the future.
There it is. So that's empirical data right there.
Sir.
You can prove me wrong right now by showing me something that you predicted beforehand that came to pass after you predicted it. That's it. Just name one thing for me. You can disprove me right now.
Go back and listen to my broadcast. 1,000 broadcasts. You just said you came in here and you started.
So just name one.
Hold on.
Name one.
Let me finish. I spoke about sex robots over 4 or 5 years ago.
That's your thing. I mean, give me something real. Something cheap like
one
that.
thing. I give you one thing. I've spoken about things that you're not going to see until 10 years from now, or 15 or 20 years from now. But being that we're not in that time, I can't show it to you because we're not there yet. But we're heading toward that. I gave you one thing, and then you go, "Oh, is that what you gave me?" You see it now, don't you?
Yeah, but sex robots, because you can go back. There were comics and things referencing that all the way back to the 50s and 60s. So you got to give me something that's real.
Show me
speculation.
Show me where. Tell me exactly who was talking about that.
Yeah, there was a comic by the name of R. Crumb, R. period last name Crumb, and he put out a whole series of comics talking about future sex robots. This was back in the 60s and 70s.
Hold on. Not to the point, like I said, it's one thing to you can make a joke about anything, but when you start talking about the actualization of this taking place, because you said a comic, that is not a viable source. A comic can make a joke about anything. A comic can make a joke about dogs walking around wearing suits. What does that mean?
No, the point I'm trying to make is that the idea has already been out there for decades. This idea that eventually we'll develop robots to replace human beings. Yes, it's been. The suspicion is that robots would eventually replace human beings in the workforce and all type of things.
If I give you something that's 30 years off from now, but you can kind of see where that's going to that, you wouldn't accept it. Because I've given stuff over 20, 30 years out. That's something small I talked about.
Okay, well, so name one thing that you think is going to be 30 years from now. Just do that.
I said that there's going to come a time where women are going to be able to switch out the genetic material of their partners and their children with other partners. And they're going to be able to change the genetic material and structure of the children up to 4 years. They'll be able to switch out.
And when did you say that?
I said
and
that.
When did you predict that?
I said it about 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago.
Again, that's not an original idea. That was already being talked about all the way back in the early 90s. Yeah, if you go back to when they first tried cloning.
Give me the person's name.
I'll give you an example. Right after they cloned that first sheep, and they did they were talking about it. They were talking about that back then.
Who is that? I want to know who's that.
Anyone,
because you full of shit
everyone
right
involved in genetics and microbiology. I don't have the exact name off the top. I don't have the exact name off the top right now. I'm driving right now. I can't pull it up off my phone. But the idea was there, and I can't hold up. I can call back tomorrow or your next show, and I can give you the exact name and the studies about it. No problem. That dated at least 1992 and then 93. My name is Mike, and I'll call back in. I'll show you that. But that's not an original idea. If you tell me you came up with that 3 years ago, that was not an original idea. That idea has already been in discussion for more than a decade.
You're saying, but so no matter, you know what, Mike? No matter what I would have said, you would have said, "Oh, see, that's not original," because
No. If you gave something original, I'm not a cynic.
Mike, your mind came on here to say that I'm wrong about everything I'm doing. That's what you came on here with.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
yes,
not.
You're lying. You're
I
lying.
asked you. I asked you in the beginning. I asked you in the beginning to explain what it is you believe, and then I heard you.
Come on,
but you told me transmission.
And no matter what I said to you, you came on here. Well, maybe it's your imagination. Maybe you're just making this up. You already came.
I'm going off what you told me. You told me you were getting transmissions.
And I told you. Hold on.
That's it.
And I told you. Hold on. Say it again.
You're the one that told me you were getting transmissions. And I said to you, okay, and you told me that you defined the transmissions not as an audible voice, but as thoughts that were given to you. So now my question to you was, I said, how do you discern between your own thought and a thought being given to you from an outside source? You said that I don't have any thoughts. All your thoughts come from an outside source. And so that led me to start the question, okay, maybe this is coming from your own imagination. Then you went into this discussion about what's an imagination. It's an image. Images are projected to you. It's based on things that you see or being taught to you. Then we got to the point of you're saying that you were getting ideas or things beforehand. So I said, give me examples. You brought up sex robots. After sex robots, I told you that idea was already in the general population beforehand. Then you brought up people being able to change.
You gave me a comedian.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you could give. You gave me a comedian making a joke about something like that. That's you can make a joke about anything.
My point is that it's not an original thought. It's not an original thought. You made the statement that I got this transmission from an alien beings. That's what you're telling me.
Wait a minute. I started off by saying to you that nobody gets any thoughts. No thoughts come from anybody. They're all generated images in your head. You are a reception center. That's everybody on the planet. This is
and
why
I disagreed with that.
Hello, sir. Let me finish. This is why they put out television programs to program you. You're nothing but a computer that receives ideas and you're spitting them out. Even your reference point to people who are saying these things and things like that, all your ideas come from someplace else. You have nothing that's coming from you, but you don't seem to understand that. That's why this is a moot point.
Again, I told you that not every idea comes from someone else because human beings have a creative process in their brain that allows them to solve problems. That's different. I told you that earlier. I said that's how we got technological advancement. That's what I told you.
You're saying everybody's ideas come from someplace else.
No, I didn't. I did not just say that. You're just twisting my words. I said. I just said to you. Okay, pay attention to what I said.
Mike, you know what?
Oh man, you're just playing the games with me, man.
Mike, I tell you what. Call back on Monday.
I paid attention to everything you told me, and I repeated all your points back to you. But you're twisting my words.
10 o'clock. Mike.
Okay.
According to you, I'm twisting your words because it's not coming out the way you want it to come out. Okay.
Nah, so man, you're playing word games with me, bro. I've heard this kind of nonsense before, man. You sound like a religious person.
Okay, bye, Mike. Don't listen no more. Goodbye. 452. I let that foolishness go on long as I could possibly go. This is exactly why you're probably a black man who bugged out of your mind, man. 452.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me, Nubin? All right,
yes,
man.
I can.
Hey, yeah, I want to tell people, man, don't pay attention to this guy that just called. You know, I don't know if you recognize his voice, but I've been listening to your show for over a year, and this guy has called a couple of other times, and he's argued with you. I think he's just a paid agent.
I think that's the religious guy. I think that's the religious guy, the Christian guy. Yeah, that's the Christian guy.
Yeah, he's called he's called your show a few times before.
My thing is, if I'm a religious guy and I'm a nutcase and all the things, because he came in here, and I kind of figured that was him, why are you listening to me? What are you listening for? I don't understand. What are you listening for? My thing is, if I'm phony, then fine. I said everybody's not going to accept what I'm teaching. I asked him about the sex robot thing, right? And I said that they were going to start using the sex robots and whatnot. They're going to come out. He talks about some comedian that said that back in the 50s somewhere. Then I said, which I've never heard nobody say about the woman going to be able to take the genetic material from a child. Let's say she don't like the father, she mad at the father, the child's father. She'll be able to take the genetic material, the chromosomes from the child, and switch them out with another person up to 4 years. He claims somebody said that. So no matter what I say, which I never heard nobody say that before, that's what I received. And a lot of other stuff I said over thousands of broadcasts and whatnot. I've never heard nobody say that, but all of a sudden somebody said that too. Then he goes, oh, it's people that said that. People, goodbye, man. You playing games, man. Goodbye.
Yeah, man. I think he was just a paid agent sent to cause confusion and arguments.
Yeah.
If he calls back, it would be great if you don't take his call because he's just trying to cause confusion with your audience. And I believe he's a paid agent because he's called a couple other times to argue with you. I remember his voice.
Yeah, I know his voice. I know his voice.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show
but
you.
I have
goes to show you, obviously.
Yeah.
Hold on, but let me show you something. That goes to show you that obviously they take Nuben Menkarayzz seriously because why would they put somebody on there that would do that? If I was just some crazy person, some nut, and I'm making stuff up, why would you even care to pay attention to me? You got a bunch of guys out here saying all kind of stuff and whatnot. Why pay attention to Nuben Menkarayzz?
Exactly. See? But I have two questions for you, Nuben. The first one is the first question I have is the hatred between black men. So for example, I was in the grocery store the other day, and I was dressed pretty nice. I had a suit and tie on and everything, and I turn around and this black man walks past me. He gives me the most cold, evil look I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the look that he gave me, he just looked like he wanted to just kill me. I've never seen anyone look at me that way. I've never seen a guy in my life. And I happened to notice he went and sit with a group of white guys, and he was just had a big smile on his face. I was wanting to ask you, what is the hatred with these why do black men hate each other so much in the world? Like, what is going on with the hatred amongst black men?
I've seen that. It's funny you ask that because it's very noticeable. A lot of these so-called black men or black males are programmed mentally by the beast to kill each other. But they're programmed also to love the white man, embrace the white man. It's all in the hoods all over America. They see you, they screw facing you. They're ready to kill you. But the white man, they smile. They got a smile for the white man and whatnot. They don't bother them and nothing like that. They're not aggressive toward the white man because those are programmed slaves. They programmed, to be against the so-called black man. These are not your brothers. These are a bunch of people who are controlled by demonic energy, right? That is constantly being pushed out into the atmosphere because these people make themselves open vessels to it. They just straight demonic. They open vessels for demonic energy. They don't have any mind to the brotherhood because, see, the demons that are in them are Caucasian, or those Caucasian demons that are inside them that inhabit their body. So they have more of a kinship toward Caucasians than they do toward other so-called black men.
Wow. Yeah, man, it's the hatred amongst black men is very serious. I've always, my dad always told me that nowadays, the black man hates you more than the white man does nowadays, and I really do believe that.
Oh, yeah. They will destroy you. They will destroy you a lot faster sometimes than the so-called white man will. Especially the so-called black female. She hates black men. She can't stand black men. She loves the white man though. You got a lot of these people who are just programmed slaves. It's the same people that was on the plantation, same spirit energy of those people that was on the plantation that would fight and kill for the slave master and stop you from trying to run away. It's the same people, same spirit, because you got a heavy slave spirit on this planet. These Negroes got the spirit of slaves in them too. It's a heavy slave spirit here. See them spiritual energies, those people, same way you got a slave master mentality and these Caucasians that a lot of them still have that heavy spirit of slave, that slave mentality is on black people as well. It's on them too.
Wow.
And it don't go nowhere. See, that's what they don't understand, because the same way they say energy cannot be created or destroyed, that spiritual energy is still here. That spiritual low grade energy, it's like a master and a master and a dog almost. Like I said, they are dedicated to the slave master because they both on the same level. They both slaves. You know what I'm saying? They both. You got the slave master, which is nothing really but a master slave, and you got the slave. They both like beast of burden, and they both work off of each other. But when they see somebody, say like you, who might be evolving or elevating above that, they both don't like you.
Exactly. And speaking of black women, I just have one more question. With all these white men who are, into these black women all of a sudden nowadays, let me ask you this. Do you think that these white men genuinely actually love these black women, or do you think these men are just victims of mind control with all the programming that's been pushed to them to be with black women? Do you think it's mind control, or do you think it's actual love?
It's mind control. Mind control. Because why all of a sudden are these white men embracing these so-called black women? Why all of a sudden now? And you got a lot of the people who are engineering this, the elites who are engineering this, and a lot of these areas, a lot of these relationships that you see out in the public, they staging it the same way they make TV shows, ads for commercial ads and whatnot, where they'll put the black woman together with the white man. See, they get in the society program to accept this, and therefore the black woman is seeing this every day, and she's no longer looking after a while at the so-called black man as being quote-unquote natural-born mate. She's looking at the white man now, or other so-called alternatives, because every time she's looking around, she might have seen a million ads where it'll be a white man with a black woman, and she'll see the black woman is looking progressive and happy and smiling and stuff like that. And she's like, well, hell, I don't have a man, and why should I only have to look to black men? I should look to everybody, but they're not telling the white woman to be that way. They only pushing it toward the black woman.
So now that they're pushing white men towards black women, you don't see them really promoting black men and white women. So what is the white elites, the so-called elites, what is their plan for the white woman?
Oh, the white woman, they don't got no plan for the white woman. She's finished. She's finished.
Yeah.
Because she can't see the problem with the white woman is she can't really produce children. Because every time you turn around, you hear the white woman, she's in the fertility clinic, right? You see they might have 2 children if they say, oh, the plan, the white people, our plan is to have the white woman say, my plan is to be married, have 1.2 children out of it. But they really say that because they come with a small number because they know their reproductive system is basically coming to an end. Like everything, when you're not meant to constantly produce like that, it comes to an end. So they don't have any plans for the white woman, but to basically let her fade out. That's why the white man knows that he has to choose other alternatives if he wants to procreate his seed. That's why he chose the black woman. They tried with the Asian woman too. With the Asian woman, they can't really deal with the Asian because the Asian. I told you what the situation was with the Asian woman and what they did in China. Not a lot of Asian women on the planet. A lot of people don't know that because of what they did in China. It's not a lot of them. So.
And you know what? I believe you're definitely right about the white men being into black women being mind controlled because I ran into this white guy I used to work with years ago. I ran into him and for some reason he likes black women. I happened to ask him about a few months ago. I was like, why do you like black women so much? And he looked at me and he said, you know what? I don't know. And he was like, he gave me like a blank stare, like he really did not know why he liked black women. He said, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he looked dead confused, like he really don't know why he does.
He's being programmed.
Yeah.
Like the so-called black woman is being programmed to like white men. He might have saw a whole bunch of ads where he saw the white man with a black woman and whatnot. Like this new thing with this chick Tiffany Haddish, right? I don't know if you know, she's a comedian, right? Now all of a sudden they made Tiffany Haddish all big and whatnot when she really just some ghetto queen who just told a few jokes. She half-assed funny.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of Tiffany Haddish, Tiffany Haddish, you know what? The Oscars. So she was at the Oscars. You know what they did? They basically did something. They had some little thing going on online saying that she ran into Brad Pitt at the Oscars.
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say.
They made they made her look so desperate when they said that she was joking around and she asked Brad Pitt would he go out with her. He said, you know what, get back to me in a year and I'll let you know. That's just making the black woman look so desperate, man.
Yeah, like she's chasing the white.
Talking about get back to me in a year.
That's what they want to put in the minds of black women, that the so-called white man is a trophy and that he's to be sought after. If we ain't together. Now it's probably a totally made-up story and whatnot, but she don't mind playing a part.
I don't believe the story is real. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe in it, but she's going to be part of the help. That's why they made her famous, because a lot of these so-called black young females that's coming up in the entertainment industry, they're going to basically be told that, look, you got to be seen with the white man. They're going to really push this heavy and hard now, brother. They're going to tell them, and they're going to push that.
They're going to push that in a new, and they're going to push that in a new Black Panther movie. Did you see the at the end credits of the Black Panther movie? There was like 2 end credits. At the last end credits, you see Black Panther's sister is standing there with a white man, and she called him the Great White Wolf. and they were standing like face to face, like they was about to kiss. So in the next Black Panther movie, you
No, I
definitely
didn't
gonna
see that.
black women
That was
with white
always
men.
the end, after the
Yeah,
end.
you.
That was always the
Yeah, all the way at the end. His sister looked at him like they was about to kiss. So you're definitely going to see that interracial black women and white men in the next Black Panther for sure. Yeah, you should have saw that. She called him the Great White Wolf.
I won't be surprised if his sister is the next Black Panther. I wouldn't be surprised. Because, like I said, she's the one that come up with the. See, they had to make it whereas the so-called black woman is the one with all the brains, the black man is just the brawn. Even in this movie, in this show, The Black Lightning, which is a good show, I tell everybody to watch Black Lightning on. It's a good show. But even in there, they make the white man the one who come up with all the technology and whatnot for Black Panther, and he's just a running Negro that put all the stuff on and do everything. He can't make nothing himself. But anyway, I'm just saying they're gonna push that. See, I say they're gonna push homosexuality. The Black Panther gonna be a homosexual, or he's gonna be his sister they're gonna push some homosexuality, some race mixing. So yeah, that makes sense. I didn't see. We didn't wait all the way to the end of the credits. You know what I'm saying? We didn't wait.
Yeah, it's all the way to the end credits.
They put stuff like that. They put stuff like that at the end because, and I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna start sitting it all the way to the end of movies to see the end credits because they do stuff to let you know, because they didn't want to put it at the end of the movie because they didn't want to spoil it. But when they do stuff like that, because the end means a new beginning. So what they're gonna show that little girl, Letitia, whatever her name is, she's gonna be in an interracial relationship with a white man, and the next one's gonna be doing all kind of stuff with the white man because they really trying to push the black woman with the white man, and that represents the end of what you're known today as the so-called black race. That's the end.
So do you believe that our black women who are participating in this, do you believe that they're demonic? You think they have demonic energy on them, or what is going on with these black women? Because it seems like, if you're a white guy, you can get a black woman real easy than a black man could,
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say this. A lot of these so-called black females, they are demonically possessed, and they are participating in this demonic downfall of so-called black people because, like I said, the white man, they got this mindset like the white man can offer them a lot, and all this other stuff, and whatever the case may be. And so they're going to work against their own people, you understand, because they don't really consider you part of their people. Like I said, you just somebody out here. We all human. We all the same. This nonsense they got in their head. What they don't want to have nothing to do. They want to be part and parcel with a race in the so-called black race, and they have that demonic energy in them, which is from the so-called white man, and that bedwench slave mentality that the slaves had back in there, because you had a lot of those black bedwenches back in slavery time who did that. They sold out a lot of the people on the plantation.
Yeah, I just don't understand how, as much as white men have done to black women out of hundreds and thousands of years, I can even stomach sleeping with them. I have no idea. It's very sick.
Yeah, well, this black female is sick. A lot of these black females are sick. They are mentally ill. You got to stay away from them. You know what I'm saying? You need to stay away from them. And a lot of you bronze women out there who waking up, you bronze women who actually want to continue the bloodline, stay away from these black females. Because they demonically possessed, man. They want to be with the damn white man. They want to be with other women. They all demonically possessed. They working against stopping the bloodline. They working against stopping the bloodline.
So I'm sorry to keep taking you up. One more question, Newbin. Have you noticed they've been pushing Oprah a lot? Do you think that they're going to push her as president, and would you be surprised if they made her president?
No, I wouldn't be surprised because that would be an asset. Because if they did make Oprah Winfrey president, then they could, they kill two birds with one stone. Because it'll probably be Oprah Winfrey who'll then come with a white man, right? And she'll get rid of Stedman. She'll get a white man, and he'll be her husband, and he'll be the first man. She'll be the president, and he'll be the first man, as they say. So I wouldn't be surprised because it don't matter who they make the president. The elites make the president. They're gonna all do what the elites say. So that's why I say when these stupid people start talking about, if you vote for it, you can vote for you either want this one is your president. It don't matter who the president is. The bottom line is that those presidents have to be in position. They're only in position to keep paying off the Federal Reserve, giving them their money because this country's in debt. They have to constantly keep paying money to the Federal Reserve. They don't give a damn who the president is. It could be a black woman, a white man, a faggot, a lesbian. It don't matter, a midget. They don't give a damn who it is as long as they're going to do what the bankers want them to do. That's it. Don't care about whoever it is. Your votes don't count. People don't get that.
Yeah. It don't count. That's right. I'm not even registered to vote, and I probably will never register because I know it's not real. You know.
No, it's not.
So,
It's not.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, Newman, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
919.
Greetings, Newman.
Greetings.
Yes, I'm calling because I'm going to be joining. I am in the process of relocating right now, and I should be settled in the spring. So I will send my letter in. But once I relocate and get settled. But also following up on what the brother said about seeing angry so-called black men, looking at him with indignation and anger. I don't think it's just the male who are doing that. I am experiencing, like, day after day, so-called black women just looking at me as if though if I was in a secluded place and I was by myself with them, that they would physically do me harm. So at times I wondered, what is it about me that angers them when they see me? And I'm just going on about my business. Friday evening, I was in Whole Foods, and the way the black woman looked at me, they just looked at me with contempt and just hate, and they don't know me. However, because I am certain of who I am, I just went on about my business, handled my business, and got out of there. But I just thought that it was interesting that this brother called up and, you know, he has experienced the same thing with so-called black men. So I just thought that I wanted to, you know, really touch on that. What is it about the so-called black woman, you know, just hating on other black women, so-called women that they don't know? I don't know them. I've never seen them in my life.
Well, the so-called black woman has a heavy demon on her right now. Like I said, the black female, I should say, because if you're not, see, this is what I'm telling people. If you're not charged with that light of Amen to go forward as that collective race of beings, then you're going to be filled with that energy of the beast or those demonic or spiritual energies and whatnot. And those spiritual demons, right, those slave demons and whatnot, that didn't want to see things change and whatnot, who always wanted to be in bondage, wanted to keep the so-called black race down. That's those demon spirits that's heavily on these black females. So whenever they see a progressive bronze woman and somebody who's raising up, who's coming to another level in some way, shape, or form, your presence offends them. You understand? They see the brightness in you, the light in you, where you trying to evolve beyond it. They hate that. You know, that's saying misery love company. That's the so-called black female and these black males today. They in misery because they know their time is coming to an end, and they hate you because they see that it's something in you, there's a light in you that is differentiating you from them. I'm telling you, this is real. I don't care what nobody say. There's separation as becoming that those one people or those persons coming forward as the bright race, the brighter bronze, and the Mentellians is real, and the so-called black seed, who's the black race, is on its way out the door. They got heavy demons on them. They know their time is coming to an end. They know it. That's why they hate you. They see that you represent a new beginning, and they represent the end, and they hate that. They want to destroy the end. They want to destroy you. You got to be careful of these people.
Yes, because I thought, for one, I thought it was probably their diet, their weight. A lot of them were heavy-set women, just looking really sick under the wigs and the weaves, and I just thought that maybe they had some probably medical conditions, but I'm seeing it so often that I wondered. So I want to thank you for clarifying that for me, but I am going to continue to move forward, walking forward, you know, shining bright, because I am not going to dim my light so they can shine. And I was just carrying on about my business. I don't know them, didn't know them. And I noticed also some of the white women, they want to eyeball me, and I'm really trying to contain myself as to, not be verbal and say anything to them, but I just didn't know what it was. But I think you have clarified that for me. But also for the brother, there are a lot of us out here who are not interested in any white man, okay, white males. We are not interested in them because they don't pique my interest at all. I really think that from being on the outside looking in, when I see them now, I see something totally, artificial, unreal. Even the way they sound, even in the things that they do, even if I'm watching a movie and I can see who they really are, that is not for us. And so for the sisters and the brothers, the so-called brothers and sisters out there who are getting with them and procreating with them, oh, my God, I think it's over for them, in my opinion. I really think it's over for them.
It is. So, like I said, a lot of people, like I said, they done came to that conclusion, like I said, in this day and time. And see, and what I was saying, and I try to explain, we being pulled from the future. We being pulled by our ascendants, the Amen being, into the future. That's why I said, these prophecies and these things that I'm doing through MENTELLECT are future visions of I'm being pulled, or we're being pulled by our ascendants into the future. We're being pulled away from these people of this time, and we're being pulled into the future. This is what I was trying to explain to the person, the simple-minded person that called in earlier. These are future prophecies. These are not things of my time. These are not things of the past. These are things of the future. We're being pulled into the future. And Mike, whatever your name is, if you're a so-called biblical man like you claim to be, then you talk about prophecy of future visions. All technology and things that come from beyond the sun are future visions of things that are already laid out. We're just being pulled in to receive these things. I would just wanted to get that out there, just in case people misunderstood what I was saying, and even everything I'm saying about the end of the so-called black race. Because if you look on my on our website, we talk about the downfall of the black race. On the website, mentellect-republic.com, on there, I talked about and I prophesied about the downfall of the black race and the consumption and the consolidation of the black race, and which is being called black. And you see people who are so-called black playing a part in this destruction. They're getting paid money to do this. And so they're confederate with these people, and these people are demonically possessed. They're the slaves that were these are the same slave energy that was on the plantations, the ones who went out there, because you actually had blacks that went out and worked for Caucasians who would go to the north and get other black people. They would send women out to get black men and whatnot, pretty women to go out and get black men and get them drunk and get them drugged and knock them out, have sex with them, and then those black men would wake up in slavery somewhere. That happened a lot. That's how a lot of so-called black men got caught up in bondage. And you got the spirit of these same black females today. That's in a lot of these black women. They traders and turncoats, any black males who do that.
For example, like the Madam C.J. Walker, that woman that invented the straightening of the black woman hair with the perm.
Yeah. Gave a whole lot of black women cancer over time. That was nothing but lie or poison that so-called black women putting in their hair, and then a lot of black women waking up. Next thing you know, they got years down the road, they putting that perm and things in their hair. The next thing you know, they got all kinds of cancer, brain cancer, tumors in their body and things like that. And that came from that putting that lie, that poison in their hair.
Yes, lie. That's interesting. Lie. Mm-hmm. How can you put some lie on your head and then live in a lie? That is so interesting. But also, you said to the simple-minded Mike that our thoughts are not our own. Can you please elaborate on that a little bit for me? Because I want to thank Kev for really, he's been listening to all your shows, and he has sent me a lot of information just to get caught up and some of the programs that I've missed, because sometimes when I have questions and things that you do say, I would contact him and he would clarify them for me. But I want to thank Kev for doing that for me. But can you also elaborate on further why our thoughts are not our own?
Because the thoughts that you have here in society are programmed by the white man, meaning from the time you were born, you are learning things from your parents who were educated, who were raised in the society by the so-called white man, right? And then you have your education system where you're going to go and you're going to be educated, and then you're going to be taught a certain way. You're going to see things on TV. So all of these are programs, aka thoughts that are being stored in your brain. They're being stored in your head as transmissions or forms of communication. So these become, your thoughts, which are really not your own. They're from someplace else. And I didn't argue the fact when I was trying to explain to him that, your thoughts are from someplace else. You don't, all the images that come to you, they're coming from someplace else. Either they are submental, meaning from mankind, or they are upper mental, meaning they're coming from the Creator, the Most High. And we're supposed to follow the upper mental because by logic, by rationale, and by who we are part of that. Those who are of the elect who can even receive those upper mental thoughts, we are of the elect. So we're supposed to be following those. That's why I said when I did the broadcast, don't, trust Armin and not yourself. I forget how I worded it, but yourself is that which is controlled here by the beast in this three-dimensional realm. See what I'm saying?
Yes. So that's why it's important, for example, when you do get a thought and it makes you stop and ponder, then you have to differentiate whether it's actually a good thought or is it a thought that you have to dismiss or instead of, acting upon it. Because, first comes thought and then comes action. So it's good to kind of, contemplate whether or not that thought is, where is it coming from? What
exactly.
Ignited
You said exactly what I was trying to say. And where is it coming from? This guy want to keep sitting there talking about, well, how do you know it didn't come from your own imagination? And I kept telling him, I don't have any thoughts. He don't have any thoughts. The only, even his argument of attacking what I said came from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That came from somebody else. Him trying to so-called debunk me and trying to argue me, he's using something. He's not even using his own logic and rationale and whatnot, because that's the only thing that belongs to you is your ability to judge and reason. He couldn't even do it on his own. Everything I did was on my own as far as judging and reasoning. So you have to be able to have a proper judgment of the thoughts that are coming in, because you're going to receive a whole lot of thoughts coming into your head, because we're in a world full of thoughts and people energy is being casted out, transmitted, programs are going out, television, radio. These are all nothing but communicative thoughts that are going out via television shows. These television shows were written by somebody. Those are somebody's thoughts, are they not?
Yes.
Those books that you read, those are somebody's thoughts. So you receive thoughts all the time. When you read stuff and you accept stuff, you receive thoughts. But you have to, what the part that is you is the what I want to say, the judgment on what is logical and what is rational and what you should go with versus what is illogical and irrational. And so-called black people have lost that. They just go with anything now.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, because that is so true. Because sometimes I do get thoughts, and that's part of the reason, especially when I get those about people, places, and things that I started cutting off and, not even wanting to be bothered with. And, I'm just being more candid and straightforward, with folks now, because I can see through what they're saying to me. It's not real. And I can see the shenanigans. I can see through the schemes, and I can just, it's amazing. But it's very interesting and important that you clarify that for me, because now I have a better understanding that it's okay that when I do get thoughts to not talk to people, certain people, when they want to talk, that it's okay to not talk to them. When they want me to, get with them and go places with them, it's okay to not want to do that. And I'm grateful because those thoughts now are, in my opinion, based on what you just explained, those are good thoughts that are coming from the almond being. And then I'm acting up in them by being obedient. And so I find myself more content, more peaceful, more joyful and happy, and I have a better understanding. Thank you so much for your time. And like I said, once I relocate, I will send in my letter, and I am enjoying all your programs. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Take another call. 919.
This is Yvette.
Menzak.
This is Enra Yvette. How are you?
Menzak. How you doing?
It's very interesting. I'm fine, thank you. This is a very interesting conversation. From beginning to this point, I will say I have to confess that I was actually one of those women who was tearing down a black race, in that way. Like I said before, when I realized that I was a white supremacist, that's when I actually asked for, a so-called black man to look up to. Actually, that's when I was led to you. But I had to my eyes were open to what I was doing and how I had treated myself, how I defiled myself, how I defiled my race. I defiled my own men, my own women, and I actually defiled my own father, the creator. And so this unlawful practice of this interracial stuff is disgusting. It's terrible. And I just got back from Walmart today, and I saw so many black women with these. They weren't with white men, they were with other men, like Arab looking or I guess Guatemalan looking, just, different looking people, but their children were not black, and it was eye opening for me. I'm thinking I could have been one of those women. Thank Amen, hail Amen, he actually opened my eyes to that. But I do have a question for you, and this might spark something. Why is it that bronze men don't care? Why is it that so many women? Why is it that the programming can get this thick? How can our culture be this saturated with it that bronze men don't care? They literally just don't care. Why? What is going on with them to where that they can just throw their own daughters away? How is that? Why is that possible?
Because a lot of these so-called bronze men, their seed and their bloodline is slated for destruction too. When you start seeing the so-called black women that laid with these other races and produced other children, or these so-called bronze men who did the same thing and don't care about that, it's because that's a sign that their bloodline is going to be erased. That just represents a bloodline that's going to be erased.
Okay. That makes complete sense, because I don't see. I'll see, bronze men, they'll complain about it, but they don't want to do anything about it. These men should not be able to go into. Again?
That's a lot of them. They could say they feel that way, but they're not going to do anything. They're just going to go along with the program. And if you're not going to stand away from the people that's doing that, and Amen gave us the real platform to stand away from the so-called black race, who just, they might say, oh, I'm not with it, I don't agree with it and whatnot, but you're not willing to stand apart and do nothing about it and stand up for your people. The way you stand up for your people and stand for them in this evolution and this change and this transformation is to come into the Republic and MENTELLECT and raise Amen, thus raising ourselves. But they're not trying to do that. They want us to stay still and stay stuck and be like, yeah, I ain't with it, but you disagreeing with it don't mean nothing, because by you doing nothing, it's like you agree with it anyway. You're not willing to take action to show that, and the only way to take action is to separate from the black race. Because if you stand with them, you're going to fall with them.
That's true. But I mean, I've even witnessed, black men. They just they were almost happy, not happy, but they were just in agreement with that whole setup with black women dating other men. And like I said before, years ago, I was that girl.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm at the point right now. I don't even care if the so-called black woman and the white man are together. I don't care about that. Or the black man and the white woman are together, because we're not black anyway. We're the bright race, and we're going to continue our bloodline, what was formerly known as the black race, because I said MENTELLECT and the Mentellians is not for black people. We're not here to resurrect the so-called black race. The only reason I'm pointing this out is to let those who got that black, who had that black mindset and that, we're going to stay black, and I'm here to get those, because a lot of those people who are of that black mindset, who want to continue the bloodline, they are sincere, and they're supposed to be converted into Mentellians and whatnot, and start raising arming up. That I just came with this message to get them out and to let them know the black race, as you know it, is finished. That's it. They're not going to continue in the future. The white man has his way, and he will have his way. He's going to turn what was known as the black race into a race of mulattoes and people you're not even going to recognize in the next 25 to 30 years. They're going to be gone.
Wow. Well, it is what it is. I can say that, like I said before, I was one of those women, and I had to grow to be that, because I remember, when I was a teenager. Well, when I was a teenager, I didn't have boyfriends, so I was largely ignored. I was largely ignored when I was younger. So when I got older, and I'm thinking, I can date anybody, I can do what I want to do, just killing myself, And what I truly remember is, when you're doing something wrong and you have like a mental, like you feel yourself being lowered.
Mm-hmm.
You ever had that feeling, like let's say let's say you right now, the intellectual Nubian Carves walks into a club, you're gonna feel that drop within yourself, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask, what am I doing here amongst degenerates? That's what I'm gonna ask myself, and then I'm gonna hurry and get out of there.
Exactly. You shouldn't be down there anyway, right? But before I even came to the knowledge of the truth, I had that feeling that I was doing something wrong, But I chose to ignore it. And that caused me so much depression. It causes depression for all you women out there who are engaging in this. A lot of y'all are depressed because you know that what you're doing is absolutely 100% wrong. And you know that when you look in the mirror, you don't like yourself. And then you give birth to children who will not like you, who also won't even like themselves. You keep that degeneracy going. Why would they want to do that? I don't understand that. And you know what? I don't come from women who dated interracially. I don't. My mother would never. She was disgusted when I even told her. Disgusted. And my dad, had he been alive, he would have been disgusted too. Like, I don't come from people who mixed at all. If you see my picture, you can tell I don't.
Yeah.
And for me to defile myself is just, I really hate myself for that. But all I can say is I know that I'm gonna open my eyes, and as soon as when you open my eyes, I know for sure I can never go back to that sort of mindset. There is no way. I can't play in a sandbox. I don't want to. I can't do it. It's disgusting.
Well, a lot of so-called black women who mix their seed and whatnot, they're going to start waking up, and they're going to realize, and they're going to come back to almond, and they're going to, try to raise Lord. And that's still, you can come back from that and whatnot. But for those of you who have not, you're thinking about that and you know it's wrong, that's a sign that you're supposed to be here amongst the bright race, because we're going to get a lot of people that's going to come on here when this thing goes up on YouTube. Oh, this guy sounds racist. What's wrong with him? He sounds like a racist, Hitler. And I'm going to get all that crap when they come. And I tell these people, I don't care what the black female do, because the black female, the black male, they finished anyway. The black race is finished. This is about the bright race. We trying to rescue and resurrect the bright race, and we have to snatch all of our people who are of the bright race, who are born Mentellians, out of the black race. That's why I'm doing this. I don't care about what happened to the black race, because they don't care about what happened to themselves. So that's it. But listen, I have to go.
Really don't.
I have to go. I got to start answering these questions. All right?
All right. MENTELLECT.
All right. MENTELLECT. All right, let me start answering these questions before we get out of here. Why won't the black race be around in the future? They don't. They doing away with themselves. This ain't something you got to believe or, it's Nubian making this up. It's happening. And it has to happen because it's part of the evolution. Armin is allowing this to happen. Armin's going to let you so-called black women lie with the white man. You so-called black men lie with the white woman or these other races. Will be homosexuals or lesbians or anything to stop the bloodline, because it's not meant for your bloodline to continue. So you go ahead and do that. When you have those babies with those other races of people, They're not going to be black. That's it. You already destroyed your bloodline. That's it. You understand that? So keep doing what you're doing. I'm not standing against you. Go ahead and do what you want to do. And like I said, this is a future reception, Mike. If you call back on Monday, you're going to get told the same thing. I'll take your call. I want to see that guy that you claim because you're a liar and you famous for misleading people. You don't call in here for telling lies and making up stuff. You're a straight black devil. You understand? That's coming on to cause confusion. But you can come back and bring that scientist's name, though I know you're not. And I just wanted to put that out there. Is this a conspiracy that is taking place? Yeah, it is. It is a conspiracy. This is a concentrated effort to destroy what's known as the black race. And you got black people on board who are working to do this. So all this black community nonsense and what are we going to do with the black community? There's no black community. There's going to be the bright race that's coming out of the black race. That's it. And those of you who are about the continuation of the bloodline, it's not going to continue as the black race. It's going to be the bright race, and they're going to be after the order of Amen, and we're going to be one community under the Republic of Mentellect. Come into the Republic of Mentellect, come home. This is where the black race stops and the bright race begins. But we're going to continue our bloodline. This is for the upstanding ones who are of a higher order of Amen. Are black people aware of this? Yeah, they are, and some of them don't even care. Or they just oblivious. They just, I'm going to just live my life and I'm going to just do what I do. You black people that's in there, I ain't with it, but I'm just going to live my life. You finished too, man. You can go ahead and forget it. Because if you ain't being proactive in the change, then you're going to be proactive in the destruction, man. Either you're going to stand apart and be part of the change, you're going to be part of the destruction. Simple as that. Ain't no standing around. I ain't with it. It don't matter if you ain't with it, but you ain't doing nothing to stand up against, but separate yourself from it. That's what the Republic of Mentellect came for. But we ain't trying to convince nobody to join that. Like I said, if it's not for you mentally, then you go ahead and die with the black race, man. Can black people stop it? No, you cannot. No, you cannot. There's nothing you can do. Y'all still think y'all black people, so you already know y'all can't stop it. What will happen after this takes place? Death and the rebirth of the bright race and the regeneration of the bright race as the Mentellians. Simple as that. After the order of Amen, because this is what has to come in. This has to happen. And that's it. Join us Monday night for the next Mentellect radio broadcast. I am the intellectual Neva Minkare. This has been Mentellect Radio. Good night.
Mentellect, rising out the black race to the bright race, out the black race to the bright race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the bright race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite